The Leader of the Official Opposition.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. When projects are approved through the environmental assessment process, they usually are approved with conditions. And if a project doesn't meet those conditions, Honourable Speaker, approval is often withdrawn. Proponents at the Jumbo Creek Glacier Resort have consistently been unwilling or unable to meet the conditions of their application through the environmental assessment process and meeting the requirements of their certificate. So my question is to the Minister of Environment. Has she withdrawn their certificate?
Minister of the Environment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and the member will likely be aware that I visited, together with compliance and enforcement staff, the Jumbo Glacier Resort proposed site, viewed the progress that they had made in order to add to the information that I have for the decision I will ultimately need to make. The member will also likely be aware that we are required to provide an opportunity for the First Nation to comment on the potential decision that will be made. We are working with Tanaha on that consultation, and I will render a decision shortly after that.
The Leader of the Official Opposition on a supplemental.
Well, thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I thank the Minister for her answer. The Jumbo Glacier Resort specifically committed to ensure that their residential and commercial structures were located completely outside avalanche zones. The Minister for Energy knows about avalanches. He said not that long ago that there are 10,000 to 15,000 avalanches a year in British Columbia. Yet, the Jumbo Glacier Resort has put the only foundation that they've been able to pour to this point in time, their day lodge, right in a Class 4 avalanche zone. And for the Minister's edification, a Class 4 avalanche zone is really, really bad. In fact, it says a Class 4 could destroy a railway car, large truck, several buildings, and forests up to 4 hectares. It's a big deal, Honourable Speaker. So again, my question is to the Minister of Environment. Seeing that the only place that Jumbo has put any construction is in a Class 4 avalanche zone, will she now withdraw the permit?
Minister of the Environment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm sure the member knows that as a statutory decision maker, it would be inappropriate for me to comment with respect to the details of any kind of analysis that I have undertaken in supporting my position up to this point and the ultimate decision that I will make. But it is very important that we allow the process to unfold, that we allow First Nations to respond appropriately, provide us with that information. That is made even more important, Madam Speaker, in the ensuing time since the decision on the Tulsiqua Chief Mine, which was also about substantially started.
Leader of the Opposition on a further supplemental.
Well, thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I'm pleased to see that the Minister now believes that process is important. Just in April of this year, by order in council, she exempted ski hills from the environmental assessment process, and it was only after First Nations resisted that she backtracked. So I'm glad to see she's on process now. But again, I want to go back to the footings and the foundation that was laid in a Class 4 avalanche zone for the Jumbo Glacier Resort. The last time an avalanche went through there in 2012, there wasn't significant damage, but in 2009, 10,000 tons of snow traveling at 320 kilometers an hour. I'm fairly confident, Honourable Speaker, the Minister will agree with me, not a good place to put a day lodge, probably not a good place to put a resort. In light of the evidence that the first construction process that Jumbo is engaged in has potentially put people at risk, surely the Minister understands the importance of this and she'll withdraw any prospect of a permanent application on this site.
Minister of the Environment.
Madam Speaker, and I know that the member has a tremendous past experience working in a government position and well understands the role of a statutory decision maker. The deadline of October 12th for the project to be substantially started was investigated by myself along with compliance and enforcement officers. We will review that information as is appropriate. We will take submissions from the First Nation as is appropriate, and I will render the decision. But it would be completely inappropriate for me to comment on any of the details of that at this stage of the process. If the members think that I should abandon the role of statutory decision maker for some kind of ad hoc decision-making process, they should say so, but it would be inappropriate for me to comment on the details of it.
Member for Columbia River Revelstoke.
What the Leader of the Opposition said, I'll just restate. The process the minister now says that she's committed to is the same process she tried to eliminate 6 months ago. And you remember standing here and apologizing for that. You didn't look happy that day. But that's our starting point, right? Okay, R.K. Helliskeen told the minister the new location for the day lodge is sitting in a Class 4 avalanche path. They provided pictures to the minister showing the new site hit by a slide with speeds over 300 kilometers per hour. As the Leader of the Opposition said, Class 4 is 10,000 tons. The certificate is 10 years old. It ran out on October 12th, 2 weeks before the day Jumbo Glacier Resort pours a pad of concrete claiming it is the foundations of a day lodge. It's in the wrong place, and it is an avalanche path. So what's going on, Minister? What's going on?
Minister of the Environment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the member for his submission. I look forward to the submission from the Tanaha, and then I will render a decision appropriately.
Columbia River Revelstoke on a supplemental.
The minister had staff up there. The new lodge site is not where it's supposed to be. It was moved. It is now in the path of a Class 4 avalanche path. It contravenes Condition 36, which is clear, and it defies common sense, frankly, right? The minister has cited Jumbo Glacier Resort for 3 other infractions, and the Tanaha have pointed out another 7 infractions. Is it possible that the minister believes that a slab of concrete in the wrong place, which happens to be an avalanche path, represents the substantial start of a $1 billion resort? Is that credible?
Minister of the Environment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As a statutory decision maker, it would be absolutely inappropriate for me to make comments with respect to those submissions from the member opposite. If the member would like to have a briefing with respect to the appropriate role of statutory decision makers, I can arrange that for him.
Member for Nelson Creston.
Madam Speaker, not only has Jumbo Glacier Resort failed to meet the requirement to build outside of avalanche zones, they have also failed to meet the first condition required of them. That is to consult respectfully with First Nations. When responding to the Tanaha Gutmuk Declaration, which is the nation's public declaration that Jumbo is a sacred place for them and a part of their spiritual practice, Jumbo Glacier Resort mocked and ridiculed the Tanaha. They set up a website with the bold heading, Gutmuk not credible. And it goes on to ridicule the nation for speaking out. Madam Speaker, mocking the Tanaha is not respectful. Does the minister agree?
Minister of the Environment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I understand the member's concern for the Ktunaxa and the fact that their voice in this process needs to be heard, and that is precisely why I await their submission as it leads up to my final decision.
Member for Nelson Creston on a supplemental.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, 4 years ago, Catherine Tenise, the chair of the Ktunaxa Nation Council, was in the legislature to tell her nation's story. She explained that after generations of Ktunaxa being put through residential schools where they were disciplined for speaking their own language and sharing their spiritual beliefs, it took incredible courage to make public their spiritual connection with Gutmuk. Unfortunate and unacceptable was the response from Jumbo Glacier Resorts. The ridicule and mockery was all too familiar for the Ktunaxa. Again, to the Environment Minister, if she doesn't consider this acceptable, how can she do anything but not support this unreasonable resort?
Minister of the Environment.
Well, Madam Speaker, once again, the inconsistency on the other side rears its head once more. And while on one hand, we have a member who advocates that I make the decision about this resort here on the floor of this legislature without taking the time to hear a submission from the Ktunaxa, then we have a member who outlines her concern for the Ktunaxa's position and the very important role that they play in leading up to such an important decision. But that inconsistency on this project is not new, Madam Speaker, and I quote from a previous NDP premier, "I hope that you will be able," this is written to the Jumbo Resort proponents, "I hope that you will be able to proceed on this project and that one day we may see this international venture realized. May I wish you good luck with the further formal assessment and review of your project." Madam Speaker, former NDP Premier Mike Harcourt.